Now we're going to answer some of your questions. So it's from Mark88V29. I experience what I think is delayed onset muscle soreness when I ride 80 miles. It says which he's been doing once a week for a couple of months, having worked up from 10 miles, such that I find I'm going to bed unpleasant and wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. and need to get out of bed to distract myself, e.g. by watching YouTube videos, because laying in bed with sore muscles. The nearest thing I've experienced to this is the muscle ache of flu. Fortunately, I get a good full night's sleep the next night as the soreness has reduced. Can nutrition or how I ride impact the soreness I experience?
Yeah, so you've gone from the 10% increase each month up to 80 miles, but from what you're saying, it's clear to say that 80 miles is too much for you right now. What you're experiencing is something like Katie will experience when she does a big Audax, because if Katie's doing a really long Audax, you can't really give her that training within training because it'll be too much, she'll be too fatigued and the quality of her training sessions will go down. So what you're experiencing is your central nervous system is extremely heightened, so you're overreaching way too much. It's coming to a point where then you're going to bed at night and you're experiencing flu-like symptoms. It's not healthy for you. This is not going to bring any positive adaptations whatsoever. And let's go back to Patrick's question about being progressive with what you do. You've applied progression from 10 miles and every month you've increased it, but by the sounds of it, you've just gone too quick, you've increased it too much. And what's not going to happen is you keep doing 80 miles, 80 miles, 80 miles, you're just going to get more fatigued, and you can either go up or down, you'll start to decline. So what you need to do is you need to scale back. So what I think you should do is scale back to 50 miles, do 50 miles, start to get comfortable at the 50 miles, start to adapt with the 50 miles. I'm not too sure what method you use to train, if it's heart rate, if it's power, so we could go in more depth if I knew what methods you use to train to, but let's start with 50 miles, do some 50 mile ones, see how you feel, see how the 50 mile then affects the rest of the training in the week, because don't look at it as one individual session, look at it as like, I'll do this session, but can I train on the Tuesday, Wednesday as well, because they need to be good quality sessions. So scale it back to 50 miles, see how you feel, and then step forward. So 50 miles might be too easy, so you might do 55 miles, you might do 60 miles, and 60 miles for you might be that sweet spot. You might stay at 60 miles for 4 weeks, and then you develop and adapt. Then you're applying that progressive approach. So 80 miles, you're overreaching, your central nervous system's shot. Yes, nutrition is a key thing, but right now, we don't need to delve too deep into the nutrition. You're overreaching. You could have the most cleanest, healthiest diet full of antioxidants and vitamins and minerals and carbs and proteins, but you're still going to overreach. You're still going to feel the same way. So back off, review and build.
Perfect. So I think that's the thing, is it? You don't always necessarily just keep going harder and harder and harder and further and further and further. You kind of have like the dip, so to be able to go further, you kind of go like that, don't you? It's never just like a straight line of massive increases. You dipping the whole way up.
You're 100% correct, and this is the biggest problem, and you've all heard it: if it doesn't hurt, it doesn't work. It's this mentality within cycling, well, not just cycling, in all sports really. If it doesn't hurt, it doesn't work, and that is a load of rubbish.
Andy Jackson says, coaching, what training tips would you give for someone looking to do their first 400, 600k Audax? Time is limited due to family commitments, but can ride outside twice a week and on Zwift a couple of times.
So what you want to be doing, Andy, is you need to be using those weekend sessions as your volume-based sessions. So you never aim to do event distance within on the weekends, because it would be too taxing on your body. So on the weekends, just apply a progressive approach to miles, just increasing those miles and getting the body used to sort of somewhere near event distance. Then within the week, what you need to do is you need to look at training. So there's 2 ways to improve fitness, and that's extensive and intensive. Sorry, it should be intensive and extensive. So intensive is pushing the fitness needle up, and extensive is pushing the fitness needle out. So what you need to be doing with your Zwift training is you want to be pushing the fitness needle out and creating strength and depth within those aerobic ranges. So the way you do that, Andy, is you will test your fitness. So you'll test your fitness or your FTP, because this is a great way to anchor your zones. And once you've got those zones anchored, you want to then either work in sub-threshold level, so it could be tempo, it could be sweet spot. And then the driver then is more time, so you want to be extending the amount of time you ride within these zones. don't always search for more watts. Yeah, you're gonna see short-term gains and your power's gonna go up, but you're not going to push the fitness needle out or improve that event-specific fatigue resistance which you need. So test, get your zone, make sure your zone's correct, because a lot of people are training to wrong zones anyway. So get your zones correct, and then focus on a tempo or sweet spot and push the fitness needle out. So more time to driver. So keep pushing out. So it could be 4 times 10 minute intervals, which then go to 3 times 15, then to 2 times 20, then to 1 times 40, 2 times 30, 1 times 60. You're scaling back and forward, increasing the length in which you can ride within those ranges. Increase the volume at the weekend, and you're getting the most out of your training. But if you're doing like Zwift sessions and it's all high intensity and it's not very specific, you know, you're working the top end and you're sort of being fancy before you fancy. You know, you don't really want to be doing all that yet, because that's a maximisation process. So focus on more time in zone and do it that way.
And that's exactly what I've been doing. So I've had the main 2 sessions, I can't remember what they're called, but they are, so it kind of lengthens out my endurance pace, kind of like you say, pushing the needle out, and then also the other session is kind of pushing my kind of strength fitness, like almost like it's like trying to raise FTP. I don't think it is, but it's kind of like pushing the shorter, harder sessions, and then also raising my watts on a more of an endurance pace.
Exactly. So the wider and deeper you can build that base, and again, within the cycling industry, it's like building a base is doing slow miles all the time, which is not. It's about pushing the fitness needle out. So the deeper and wider you can do that base, the more then you can take the harder sessions, and the more you can build your peak, and the better you can become. So if you think about it, FTP is a boat on top of the water, and you're pushing a fitness needle out, you're creating strength in depth, and it's making it bigger and wider, and it's pushing the boat up. When you do more and you continue to improve that fatigue resistance and push the fitness needle out, and when it comes to a point where you start working directly at FTP, you're ready, you're as fit as you could be. You target FTP direct and really start to see a solid increase in FTP, which will then plateau, and then you're doing your fancy stuff. This is when you target VO2 max, because FTP is capped at VO2 max, so it'll get to a point where everything will sort of plateau, and people you hear all the time, oh, my fitness is plateaued, and it's because you hit the VO2 roof. So hit FTP direct, increase that roof, gives more room for FTP to grow again, drop back down to sub FTP and maximise fitness. Nobody's doing that. Everybody's doing the intensive stuff of just fancy,
FTP,
being fancy before they fancy, where you're not going to get you'll get a good VO2 response to begin with, but then you're just wasting your time. You feel good, your endorphins are flowing, you're doing hard sessions, you feel great, but you're not getting the most from your time. So push that fitness needle out, and you'll see really good results.
Really well explained. Next question is from David Penny, who says, I currently ride my 20k route at 30 kilometers per hour flat out. Whenever I try to go further, I'm on my knees after 50k doing 27 kilometers per hour. Any advice for going longer but not dropping pace?
So what I'd like you to do, David, is comment in this video with a little bit more depth to this question, because we need to know what you're doing, for training really, because it's a very singular question. But one thing from what I'm picking up from this question is you're just going max, you're pushing as hard as you can at this speed, and then you're trying to then do 50k at the same speed. You're going to blow up. You're going to blow up. There's a number of ways to do it. You can do longer and slightly slower speed, sort of improve the fitness just below that way. Then you can throw in some efforts shorter and a higher speed, so you're improving at the top. And then the next way is you can do those that speed and that distance, but don't aim to go from 30 to 50k. Aim to go from 30 to 32k, 32k to 34k. A lot of people are not patient with the approach, and they want it now. It's this quick fix. I want to do 30k an hour for 50k.
Yeah.
That's like a really good level of fitness. So listen to your body. Respect what it's saying, and just sort of like try and come from a little bit of intensity below, a little bit shorter intervals, intensity higher, and gradually just eke out those Ks. If I coached you, it wouldn't be this way. That goal would be scrapped, because I think it's way too ambitious and you're going to lead to overtraining. But if that's something in your heart of heart which you want to do, that's probably would be the best approach to doing it. Progression, you've got to remember progression. If you can't progress, you're either going to go up or down. So the moment you stop progressing, applying progression with whatever you do. It could be with knowledge off the bike, it could be in the gym lifting weights, it can be on the bike, whatever it is, you'll start to decline.
Perfect. So I hope that helped, David. Also, if you wanted to ask any more questions like relating to that, then just leave a comment in the in the comments below,
yep.
and Jody will respond if he's got time. The next question is from Sean Halloran. He said, how often should you test FTP during a training cycle? Should you focus on weight reduction to improve your performance, e.g. better watts per kilo?
So watts per kilo, yeah, it's a good subject, this one. So first of all, let's go to your FTP question. So there's a lot of this stuff going on at the moment. FTP is dead, and people sort of belittling FTP, but at the end of the day, it's still an amazing way to anchor your zones, which I've touched on in some other questions. So what you want to be doing is you want to be testing your FTP to know where your current fitness is. Now, you might be less fit than 2 months ago, but you need to respect and appreciate that and drop your zones. A lot of people never drop zones, and it's crazy, so they're always training out the wrong zones. So the first thing to do is test your FTP. Once you've tested your FTP, you want to then do a phase of training. So a phase of training, it needs a phase focus, so you need to go, what do I want to achieve in this phase of training? And is this training specific to the demands of my event then? So let's say, for example, you are focusing on pushing the FTP up from below and you're improving your fatigue resistance at tempo, which we've touched on. You might say, okay, my aim is to ride for 90 minutes at tempo. That's my aim. So at the end of this phase, my aim is to ride for 90 minutes at tempo. You go and do that training. Achieve the goal, and then once you've achieved the goal, you test again. I don't like the way people sort of lock phases in, so like my phase is 5 weeks, it's 6 weeks. Set a phase goal, so in this phase I want to achieve. It might take you 4 weeks, because people have different response rates. It might take you 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it is. You need to achieve that to then set the level to step to the next level. Again, people rush, they panic, they don't want to do it this way. So test your FTP, respect what it says, do your phase of training, have an end of phase goal, then after that phase, test again. Get new zones, because if you've done it right, you will push FTP up from below. Test again, get new zones, new phase of training. So now you might now step it up a level and be improving your fatigue resistance at sweet spot or threshold. Target it back. Make sure training specific. Go again. Reach your end of phase goal. Now, if you don't reach the end of phase goal and you're struggling, it's because FTP is hitting the VO2 roof. So you've come to a point now where, because FTP is capped at VO2, like I mentioned in the other answered questions, so when it comes to a point where you start to see that plateau, think, oh, what's happening inside? So FTP is capped at VO2, so you get into that point again. So then you might think, oh, I need to change this phase now because I'm literally stuck at a plateau. It's time for me to now target VO2 for a 3 to 4 weeks max phase, raise VO2 roof, then drop back down, sub FTP, and go again. Stop focusing on more. Push it out, get strength and depth, because that's what you're going. That's what ultimately what's going to build you forward. Not just in Audax riding like Katie does, but in road racing, in time trials, in everything. And then when you start to see things stagnate a little bit, get fancy. Stop being fancy before you fancy. I don't know where I picked it up from. Somebody said it the other day. So it's also going to stop trying to polish a turd. That's another one. Not saying you're a turd. Don't say that the wrong way. But
yeah.
So just sort of push your fitness needle out, listen to the body, apply progression, and test once you've achieved what you want to achieve. And if you're not achieving it, something's not right, so you've got to sit back, and that's my job as a coach, to sit back and analyse what's going on.
Well, I think that's all the questions.
Excellent.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave Jody's details and website below, like I do on all my coaching videos, so I'll leave those details there. And if anyone's got any other questions, if you want to contact Jody, or if you want to chat about being coached by Transition Cycle Coaching, I'll leave all the details in the comments below, in the description box below.
But yeah, thank you for the questions, and yeah, thank you, Katie, for...
No worries, anytime. Thank you for being on the channel, so we'll see you next time for another Q&A.
Thank you.
Amazing!
There you go.
Woo woo!